Hello, and welcome back to the studio. I'm Dr. Wiggo, and today we're going to be talking about my favorite game in my favorite series, The Legend of Heroes Trails Beyond the Horizon. If you've watched any of my videos about the Trails of series, which I'll link down below, you know that this is my favorite game pretty much ever. Expedition 33 is probably the best game ever, but this is close. But on the other hand, this may be one of the most pointless videos I've ever made. Not that many of my videos have much of a point. But if you're a Trails fan, you've already bought the game, or you've certainly already downloaded and played the demo and are going to buy the game later. And if you're not a Trails fan, you've probably already tuned out. I guess the one service this video could provide is I will be unboxing the limited edition set, which is no longer available for any platform. So this may be your only chance to see what's in this box, and there's some cool stuff in this box. So I'm going to take a little different approach this time. I'm going to start with the review, which I usually put at the end, because the review may be why people are here. But if you're here for the unboxing, well, you can just skip ahead and watch that. But I will tell you, this isn't going to be the best review I've ever given a Trails game. Not because the game isn't great, but because of what the publisher has done with this particular iteration, which I will talk about momentarily. So this is the third game in the Calvert arc, which is the 13th game in the Trails of series. So there have been lots of games before this. One of the amazing things about these games, in game time, it's been 7 years since the first game. And that's the one you should start with. So run by Trails in the Sky first chapter and start playing that one. But in that game, they primarily just had airships. And this game is 7 years later in universe. And they have cell phones. And they have the internet. And they have, in this game, space travel. The whole point of this game is it's going to be the first manned mission to space in the history of this planet. And oh my God, this game is amazing. And where it ends up, which I won't spoil, but I will tell you it's the biggest cliffhanger since the first game, which you can go download and buy right now. I will link it down below. This game ends on a massive cliffhanger. I mean, the most massive in any Trails game ever. And there have been some big cliffhangers in the Trails games. Again, oh my God. I'm not going to spoil anything. Everything I'm going to tell you in this review is revealed in the prologue of the game, which you can download for free for Nintendo Switch or PS5, I think even PC. So you can find all this stuff out right away. So I won't be spoiling the big events later in the game. But it won't be a spoiler to tell you that there's going to be 3 routes. Because we have Van Arkwright, the hero of the Calvert series, and this is his 3rd game. And then we have Reen Schwarzer from Trails of Cold Steel, which was a 5-game arc. Yeah, that was a big one. And he shows up again with Altina. And then they also bring back Kevin Graham from Trails in the Sky, more 2nd chapter and 3rd chapter. And you have a Van route and a Reen route and a Kevin route. In the prologue, they're all together for the last time in a long time. I can't really tell you anything about the story without spoiling it, except to tell you that it's about the first mission to space in their history, and there's undercurrents of things going on, and I won't say anything more. But I can tell you about the game mechanics. So it has the same game mechanics as Trails Through Daybreak 2, with field battles and command battles, turn-based battles, but they introduce multiple new mechanics. The first is ZOC, which, by the way, they never say ZOC. They always say ZOC. And, of course, they don't tell you what it stands for. But basically, it's a way in field battles for you to briefly slow down time and boost your output so it makes it easier to finish off weak enemies. But it also happens in command battles. In command battles, if you use up 2 segments of the boost gauge, you go into ZOC, and that gives you 2 turns in a row. Bad news, enemies that ZOC get 3 turns in a row. They've also added a thing called Blitz, BLTZ, but they called this one Blitz. They pronounce this one, but not the other one. I don't know. One of the things in Trails games is you always have a lot more people in your party than can fight at the same time. Well, Blitz lets them come in and fight. In the turn-based combat, you'll get a Blitz link, and someone on the back row who's not in the fight will come in and take an extra shot at whoever you're fighting. So that can be a big help. But wait, then there's Awakening. Awakening is a new concept, and only certain characters can do it. But if you're controlling one of those characters, if you hit L3 and R3, you go into Awakening, And it's like ZOC on the field for field battles, and you just can tear people up and kill, and as long as there's still boost gauge left, because the whole time you're doing this, the boost gauge is being used up. So you got to be careful because you don't want to then go into a command battle with no boost gauge. But Awakening can make field battles just a piece of cake. But wait, there's more. They've added shard commands, which if you've played the Cold Steel games, you knew them as Brave Orders. But now you can get the same kind of boost by using up part of your boost gauge. Get some healing and extra power and speed. If you've used Brave Orders in the older games, it's very similar. In the previous Daybreak games, you could level up crafts using skill stones. Well, now they level up as you use them. Plus, you can still use skill stones. So you can really amp up your crafts, both by using them and by using the skill stones. And another thing, this game has 24 playable characters. Some of them are only playable in the virtual reality part, you may remember from the last game. On Reen's route, you only have 4 fighters. On Kevin's route, you only have 4 fighters. It's on Van's route where you have the huge roster and you can swap people in. Fortunately for us, Van's route is the bulk of the game. The other routes are interesting and important, but they don't take up as much time and you don't have to fight quite as many battles. Yeah, you still have to fight. Music. I don't really have to say a lot about the music. It's a lot of the same themes as the previous Daybreak games, but there's some new stuff. And I gotta say, some of the battle themes are just rousing. I mean, I really like listening to the music during the battles. Call me crazy. And the voice acting is mwah. It's the same voice actors they've been using for all these characters for the last several games. And in the case of Reen and Kevin and those guys, for like lots of games back. So it's a good voice cast and they do a good job. Now let me talk about some of my problems with this game. The game costs $60. That doesn't sound so bad, but then they have the Digital Deluxe Edition for $80, but that includes the Deluxe Service Pack DLC, which is $30, so you're saving $10. But then there's the Digital Deluxe Plus Edition for $100, which includes the Digital Deluxe Plus Service Pack DLC, which is $50. So again, you're saving $10. And then there's the Ultimate Edition for $170, which includes most of the Ultimate Service Pack, which is $120. So on this one, you're saving $10, but you're not getting everything that was in the Ultimate Service Pack. Yeah, let's talk about these DLC packs. They do have a $6.50 DLC pack, which is the 4SPG United attire, some stupid costumes. Then they have the background music pack for $20. The starter pack for $30, where they give you like 1,000 of each kind of Septium and a bunch of stuff that you can get in game, but you don't have to wait for it. Kind of a pay-to-win thing. And then there's the advanced pack, which is the same kind of thing. It's $80, but then it's like 4,000 of each type of Septium and a whole lot of accessories and other stuff. But we're up to $80 for DLC, and we're not done yet. Then there's the accessories pack for $30. This is things like Zypha covers and little miniatures to sit on your shoulder and little ride-alongs to hang on. Then there's the costume and colors pack. There's 3 of them, and they're each $30, so that's $90 for costumes. And the costumes are the Garçon costumes and the Lapine costumes, rabbits. They're Playboy bunny costumes for the ladies. One of the tropes of JRPGs is they always have swimsuit costumes that you can put the characters in and run around in bathing suits. But in this game, those are locked behind a gacha system. I'm almost all the way through my second playthrough, and I still haven't gotten all the swimsuits. But I do have these little bunny outfits for all the ladies. But look at them. They're really Playboy bunny outfits. I'm surprised they don't get sued. But the main problem I have with these outfits, they're for the underage girls too. If you look at the 13 and 14-year-olds, they make them a little more modest. Here, look. But Nadia is 15 years old. Yeah, they put in the modesty panel, but I mean, they made her boobs bigger. This is a 15-year-old girl that they're very much sexualizing. Swimsuits are one thing. These outfits are another thing altogether. And you have to pay $90 to get them all. They're each $30. Costume and Colors 1 is mainly for Van's crew. Costume and Colors 2 is mainly for Reen's crew. And Costume and Colors 3 is mainly for Kevin's crew. But they have them all mixed together. I don't know how they came up with this. Then I mentioned the service packs. The Deluxe Service Pack for $30. That's included in the Digital Deluxe Edition. The Deluxe Service Plus Pack for $50, which has everything in the accessory pack, plus Reen Instructor's outfit and the Silver Shang Tsung and some other outfits. The Ultimate Service Pack for $120, which adds all of the costume packs and the 4SPG and the background music and even more costumes. But oh my goodness, is that a lot of money for DLC. Now, you don't need to buy it. It's all optional. A lot of stuff like in the starter pack and the advanced pack are things that you get in game, so that's kind of like paying to win. But you can pay $80 or $110 because you can actually buy both and get a lot more stuff. I have a theory. The Trails in the Sky remake was published in the West by Gung Ho. They timed it so that the English release was simultaneous with the Japanese release. NISA has never been able to do that. So I'm thinking this may be NISA's last game. Maybe they'll get the last one in the Calvert Arc, but then Gung Ho may get it. So I'm thinking it's a cash grab. NISA's saying, well, if we're not going to get to publish these anymore, we're going to squeeze every penny out of these suckers. Guilty. I bought all this DLC. I always buy all the DLC. I say it's for the review, but I like having all the DLC. Anyway, that's my tinfoil hat theory about why the DLC costs so much and why there's so much of it. I think it's a cash grab because NISA's going to lose the golden goose after maybe the next game, maybe after this game. So that's my review. I think this game is phenomenal. I wish I could tell you more, but the spoilers would be monumental. This game has the most amazing cliffhanger of any JRPG I have ever played. And that's including Trails in the Sky the first and Trails of Cold Steel 3, both of which were amazing cliffhangers. This one's even more mind-blowing. I'll say no more. So again, if you're on the fence, I don't know why you would be, go buy the game. You can play the demo if you want before you do, but if you're a fan, you're going to want to play it. If you're new, Trails in the Sky first chapter, linked below. There's a demo of that you can download and play. And that starts the whole thing off, the 13-game cycle of which this is the 13th. And not the last, and the next one won't be the last either. For a Trails game, I give it a 10. Against all games, I'd give it a 9 because it's not Expedition 33 quality. But for what it is, it's amazing. I loved it. I had a great time. I'm playing through it again. I've got over 100 and something hours into it. Fun, fun, fun. Now, if you skipped ahead, let's unbox the limited edition. Trails Beyond the Horizon. There's the front. There's the side with Reen and Kevin. There they all are. There's Van and Agnes. Now, this is the slip cover. So if we take that off, oh, well, that just puts frames on it. The pictures are still the same. Let's see what's in here. Well, the first thing, of course, is the game itself. Now, I got the PS5 version. They're sold out for all consoles. But this is the PS5 Deluxe Edition. So you can buy this, the Deluxe Edition, on disc. It will be linked below. And there's a mini art book, a track list with a digital soundtrack, so you can download it. Let's flip through the mini art book briefly. Again, probably spoilers. Span and Agnes, and then they tell you about the world. Zeku Space Base, that's new in this one. Anchorville, I don't think we were there before. 2 new districts in Edith we've never been to before. And then Van. Agnes. Reen. And Kevin. Those are our main characters. Okay, and as always, does not have a reversible cover. Well, it does, but that's the reversible cover. So, not much of a cover. So what else is in the box? Oh, of course, the steel case with the same picture that was on the front of the box set. Here's the back. But wait, there's more. Visions of Beyond. This is the big art book. Warning, spoilers. Talk about the prologue. Key terms, Project Startaker, Marduk you've heard of in the previous games, the Grim Garden we won't talk about, Orid, Anchorville, and Zeku, the space base, the new places we'll go, the 2 new districts we'll go to in this game, a bunch of pictures. And these are the same things that were in the little mini art book, except now we also have Elaine, Aaron, Ferry, Reset, Judith, Burgard, Katra, then Reen, and then Reen's crowd, Altina, Fee, Toa, and Crow. And then Kevin and Kevin's crowd, Swin, Nadia, Rufus, and Lapis. The Imperial Picnicking Front. Then we have our Dominions, Solis and Leon. We have Nina Fenley, Renee, the President Roy Gramhart, Kasim, Amelia Haring. She turns out to be someone we know. Shizuna, my favorite character, Kuragane, the Grandmaster, who actually appears in this game, Yorda and Ix, the newest Society Enforcers, Simeon, a new enforcer we've never met before, Ulrika, a new enforcer we've never met before, who is also so very, very cringe. Oh, I hated her. Professor Hamilton, and Yun Kafai. Reen's master shows up in this game. There's a spoiler, but I told you there would be spoilers in this book. Okay, what else is in here? The original soundtrack, but instead of being in a CD case, it's in a bigger case, so it's the same size as the game case. And no self-respecting limited edition doesn't have some cool, weird thing. And in here, it's the Grim Timekeeper. So what we have here is a clock. And the second hand goes down in the center and holds on the other two. But wait, we're not done. We need to put it on its base. And then we have Agnes, Van, and Elaine, and I put them in this order because Van is kind of torn between these two. There may be some hints towards resolution in this game. So that's my Grim Garden clock, which you will be able to watch. Now you'll always know what time it is when I'm shooting my videos, because I will have my Grim Timekeeper up there. So now we come to the end of my pointless video because, like I said, if you're a fan, you've already bought the game. Maybe you tuned in to watch me unbox this. Well, I'm done with that now. So that's it for today. Thanks for stopping by. See you next time. Bye-bye, and next week we'll get back to tech. I hope. Thanks for staying to the end. Bye-bye.